The bell tolls. The midnight hour is upon us. It's time once again for two internet strangers to discuss the good and evil of the horror genre. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the terror within the Hallow-Holics Anonymous podcast.
Whoa, weird. How did we end up in this a movie theater?
Well, you dove into that portal and I followed you on our last episode because you started that fire and we got sucked into this, I guess, alternate studio verse. I'm not sure.
No, I remember, but what's weird is, look, I've been writing it in my book.
It's weird that you're keeping a journal right now. Well, I guess that, yeah, given the circumstances, yes, that is weird.
No, I wrote this before it happened. When would I have had time to write in my journal? We just got here.
I don't know, before you started throwing liquid all over the studio and the electronics, Corey?
Oh, speaking of starting stuff, let's just start the show.
I think that's probably for the best. Hi, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Corey. And this is Hallow-Holics Anonymous, a show dedicated to all things horror and occasionally Halloween.
And this week we are going to discuss two movies that, I guess one of them is a tribute to B horror and the other is a tribute to pulp horror.
Yeah.
Like pulp novels, like cheesy pulp novels.
It is, you're right. I'm not arguing that. I'm just very, very angry at my movie.
Angry at your movie?
There's a weird cameo in it too, but we'll get to that later.
Well, I mean, it was a kind of a low budget little camp fest.
Yours was better.
Yeah, popcorn was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
You were talking about Madman and popcorn this week, guys, because we just can't get away from the 80s and 90s, no matter how hard we seem to try.
I would like to eventually pick fun movies from the 80s and 90s, though.
You picked plenty of fun movies.
No, I'm just being hateful today.
Well, you haven't watched Black Roses, have you?
Wait, when did we watch that?
Well, you watched it 6 times when we did our heavy metal horror month.
Oh, God, that's right. I forgot. Ugh. I got it confused because I've been trying to watch New Rose Hotel, and it's really bad, too.
We have been a little slow to updates lately, guys, and as you noticed, we did use our original intro song on the last episode.
Yeah, we should probably explain all this. Our lives are catching up to us. I am pretty much working 3 jobs at the same time right now, occasionally 4. Only the 4th one is just sort of as I take jobs. It doesn't really count. So we've got all that going on. Maddie's got, well, you can tell people what you've got going on. I don't have to defend your honor.
I have a roommate now, so someone to hang out with when I'm at home. And I also have a boyfriend, so it might be rude to have him just like sit in my apartment while I record the podcast.
But it would be really funny. And would I be allowed to, like, you could put him on headphones, but keep him away from the microphone. So every time I hear him, I could just tell him to shut up.
Well, I wouldn't have him for very long, I guess.
I feel so bad even saying that because I don't know this dude yet, but I absolutely think he's wonderful because he got you that t-shirt.
Oh, yes. He got me this amazing t-shirt. He designed the lettering. He's big on font facing and letter design. It's like his hobby. And it says, Hallow-Holics Anonymous a podcast by Corey and Maddie. And it's got Freddy's glove on it. And the, font facing is designed like the text on the original Nightmare on Elm Street cover. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Mm-hmm. And he got one for my roommate too. So she can be another walking billboard for me.
Oh, awesome. So a random girl in Texas, aka your roommate, has a shirt, but I don't.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, Corey.
I'm gonna print a t-shirt in a fancy font that says, I'm disappointed in Maddie's boyfriend.
Okay, tell you what, I'll just make this announcement. Ryan, if you're listening, when Corey eventually comes to visit us, he apparently expects you to give him a t-shirt.
And it can either be a Hallow-Holic shirt or it can be one that says, I am disappointed in Maddie's boyfriend. It's up to you.
Okay, you're such an asshole.
Equal is hilarious to me. Oh, this guy's going to hate me. I don't even know him yet.
Oh, man. So, no, he's listened to the show before. He knows what a dick you are.
Oh, okay, good. Good.
Before we move on to the main subject of the show, though, would you like to update listeners on any horror news that's happened?
Yeah, this is really boring and dumb horror news, but I didn't spend a whole lot of time looking for horror news because I didn't have time, because I spent the only hour of my free weekend at a gun show like a dumbass. So apparently back in the day in like the 70s, there was a movie called Grizzly. I've never seen it. I had never heard about it before. It's just we need to know this exists because at some point a film called Grizzly 2 was filmed. And by some point, I mean 1983. This movie, Grizzly 2, features George Clooney, Laura Dern, and Charlie Sheen in small roles.
Oh my God.
Yeah, apparently a 15-foot grizzly bear, because her cub was slaughtered by poacher, seeks revenge. It's basically Jaws in the woods. This is all coming from bloodydisgusting.com, by the way.
Well, like Jaws 3 in the woods, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But a Jaws-like plot where the animal is getting revenge. So yeah, this movie was filmed and never released, and all of a sudden something that no one ever asked for is now being released with, like, I guess they filmed more scenes, they restored new footage and all this stuff. It looks like Gimli's in it too.
John Rhys-Davies?
Yeah, John Rhys-Davies looks like
From
he's
Sliders.
in it too.
I'll always know him as Professor Arturo.
Yeah, that was my favorite role of him. God, George Clooney's so young in these. Oh, Lord, everybody's young. Why am I even saying that?
Yeah,
it was
1983, Corey.
Yeah, so this movie nobody knew about and nobody wanted is now getting released on Blu-ray with, like, some fixed stuff because we live in an awesome world where people buy these old movies and give them a second chance. You know, I'm going to stop being cynical about this now because now that I make that statement, I realize I probably have to buy this movie and the first one to support the fact that this happens.
Well, you know what? I'm all for that. That's why I will go. If you know what, Blumhouse, I went to see Fantasy Island, not because I really, really wanted to see the movie, but because I wanted to support Blumhouse because I love what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to pay a little bit more for one of those Shock Factory DVDs again, because I love what they're doing. They're bringing out these kind of forgotten and sometimes obscure B horror films. They're giving them a wonderful digital treatment. Mm-hmm. They're producing great stuff. My point is, guys, Fantasy Island was actually a pretty fun movie. Dumb, but fun.
Yeah, I meant to see it, but I haven't seen anything. I don't have time to see movies anymore unless they're like implicitly for the show. I didn't see the new Birds of Prey movie. I didn't see the one I've already forgot that we were just talking about.
I've heard
Fantasy
good
Island.
things about Birds of Prey. For some reason, it got a higher Rotten Tomatoes rating than Joker, which doesn't make sense, but whatever.
I didn't look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm oddly a really big fan of Fantasy Island. I loved it when I was a kid because Tattoo was my jam. I thought that dude was cool.
Well, after
and the Russian band. I actually like the Russian band Tattoo as well.
After watching Fantasy Island, I kind of hope that they're inspired to do a Dark Gilligan's Island, because that's my shit.
I think if they're going to do a Dark Gilligan's Island, this should really be a game for down the road now that I think about it.
Oh,
but
yes.
If maybe we should do dark movies based on lighter things.
Yeah, I'm down for it. Cool. Why don't we play that game right now?
You want to play the game? So we're just going to script out a Dark Gilligan's Island right now.
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right. Well, I would like to start and say, first off, Gilligan was the murderer the whole time. That's how this movie ends.
Why Gilligan?
Like, it ends. It
little
needs
buddy?
With
is that Skipper's final line? Little buddy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Oh, my God. This is perfect. So it ends like it's sort of that same shot that you get at the end of Sleepaway Camp where he's just standing there covered in blood and the camera's just panning down and the skipper looks over at him. He's got like an axe or something held. He's just like, little buddy, no. And then all that you hear is it goes to black and you just hear, frick.
Oh, man. And
the skipper's head. Boom.
So, do they like replay the Gilligan's Island theme with more of a Sweeney Todd vibe? Like,
See, I think it starts out the normal theme, and then as we get, like, it's kind of like what we did, only not at all what we did with the Halloween theme when we did the Halloween month, where it just changed.
Oh,
until,
it's warped.
Like, last one gets, like, my last one was just super strange. I think a similar thing has to happen with the Gilligan's thing. So at the end, it's just off-key and weird, like maybe some tape manipulation in there.
Well, the original concept of the series was kind of about politics. It was how different cultures and different types of people have to work together, whether they like each other or not, whether they're meant to be in this, whether they want to be around each other or not. So you've got to figure out a way to bring that element into this dark setting too.
So yeah, that's true. Let's be fair though. It was about mostly white people learning to get along. I mean, the Harlem Globetrotters did show up.
Oh, wait, that's not fair. That's not fair. They were absolutely terrified of the natives.
That doesn't make it better.
They thought they were going to eat them.
Oh, that too. That makes it worse. Oh, all right. So we need to fix history then too. Mm-hmm. We need to. We've got a good ending, but it's got to be a little more inclusive. We've got to like do something. Like the natives cannot.
The professor's black.
Okay, we can do that. The natives cannot be evil. Okay. They can be thought to be evil, but I think in the late
Gilligan's been here before.
And they're terrified of him?
They know what he's going to do to these people.
Oh my god, this is perfect. And they keep trying to warn all the other people, but nobody will listen because they're racist 60s white people.
Yeah, and they can't get off the island because all of their plans keep getting sabotaged.
By...
Well, Gilligan, obviously.
No, even better, by the islanders because they know Gilligan can't be unleashed upon the world because he's also a demon.
He's an ancient... oh, yes, I'm into it. Like, he can maybe do a 2-mile radius away from the island because it's only a 3-hour tour. But other than that, Gilligan can't...
spit water everywhere.
I like this version of Gilligan.
Me too.
Blumhouse, make it happen.
We've managed to be socially aware and dark. I think we did a good thing here.
And we've solved their racism by making one of the characters.
Yeah. You're welcome, America. Well, we also made a primitive culture the good guys. That's a point in our PC direction.
Yeah, I guess so. How would you make it has to be an innocuous thing with minimal supernatural elements to make it like completely dark. And how would you make the Dick Van Dyke Show dark?
I don't know enough about that show to comment.
Neither do I, honestly. I was hoping you would explain a few things.
I remember my grandmother making me watch it when I was sick, like when I was really little, because when I was really, really little in the 80s, they used to have like all this stuff played during the day. I love
Lucy. Lucy is Desi.
Oh, that's good. Or it can be like a Fight Club thing.
Yes. Oh my God. I just pictured Lucille Ball giving that speech in the hotel room.
Blowing up the chocolate factory in the end.
Oh my gosh. Wait, the chocolate factory.
Isn't that where she worked that one episode?
The bakery in that one chocolate factory. She had so many jobs.
I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about that either.
Like Desi met her as a Vita Vita Vegemin salesman on the plane.
If we redid Bewitched, it would just be the new version of Sabrina the Teenage Witch on Netflix.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Which is okay.
Mm. You know, I actually liked how the 90s series ended. It was a sweet ending.
Sabrina?
Yeah. The one with Melissa Joan Hart.
Yeah, I didn't see the end. I liked the show, but I never saw the end.
It's something that you would have seen coming from the early seasons, but been surprised by the later seasons.
Oh, okay.
That they went with that direction.
I'll have to track it down and watch it. I'm sure it's not too hard.
Oh, yeah. Anything else we want to make dark before we move on?
I don't think so. I think we did a pretty good job with Gilligan's Island for like an idea we came up with 2 seconds ago.
Mm-hmm. It is February 23rd. Can you believe that?
I can as soon as I make something broke. this day in horror history.
Now, the listeners probably don't know this because half the time I manage to edit it pretty nicely, but how is it that you're always surprised by the fact that you push the button to turn on the voice?
Because it's not that easy. It's not just pushing a button. I've got to push a button and then move 2 sliders, and I always forget, like, one slider, it matters where it goes, and I never remember where it goes. So that's why I always say, and also I never know when it's going to come because I'm really bad at, like, figuring out when you're going to change the topic, even though I should know you well enough by now to know it.
When I start slowing down and sounding more scripted.
Yeah, but that's why, like, I can break this whole thing down for you. In the beginning, I'm surprised because it's coming, so I know I have to do it. So then I spend a minute fiddling with knobs and sliders, and then I mess it up. And that's when I say something else and have to redo it again. And then usually by the 3rd or 4th time I get it right. Usually the 4th time.
Well, on February 23rd in 1883, Victor Fleming, who directed the 1941 version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and The Wizard of Oz, was born. Also in 1983, Emily Blunt, who was in The Wolfman, was born as well. And in 1939, Peter Fonda, son of Henry and brother to Jane. He was in Race with the Devil and Spears of the Dead and lots of stuff. Yep.
Dude, Wolfman was so good.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I actually like the director's cut more than the theatrical release, but yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen the director's cut.
Oh, it adds a few more elements of context to it and a little bit more about why basically the village didn't really care that his mother was murdered or that his mother died.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
There's a little more family background in it.
That should have been the jumping off point to this whole shared universe they keep failing at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was like the one legitimately good one they did on their relaunch, and they just kind of threw it away.
Yeah, and the gore was so well done too. Like, it was just such a good movie.
And they left a good open space for a potential sequel, rather than it continuing to be the same Wolfman. You know, it would have been the police inspector, and he was an excellent actor. He would have been great. Mm-hmm. Gosh, a sequel to that would have been fantastic.
I agree.
But
Get on
it's
that,
not
Hollywood.
going to happen.
Blumhouse, make it happen.
I mean, I suppose what someone could do if instead of a sequel, though, just to pay homage, is have find an incredible theater that no one in their right mind would ever tear down, have a one-night film festival for it, and just, go to town.
Oh, crap. Before you do that, that was on this day in horror history. Nice. And some other stuff.
Nice, thank you.
Where did you fucking wife?
I just copied the wrong link. Hold on. I really think Toby's character, I love the idea behind
Before
him.
the horror of Halloween. Before the fear of Friday the 13th.
It's not before either of those. False advertising.
Evil of a nightmare on Elm Street.
Not before that.
Before them all, there was...
Oh, there was.
Now, 15 years later, he's back.
Oh, yes.
There's something happening here that I've been looking for all of my life. There's smoke. Someone takes her hand. She's running.
Too. Remember that song she was dancing?
That's what I remember her from.
Yeah.
Try some other stuff too.
I remember the whole thing.
That would have been a badass film festival.
Yeah, for sure. I want that face making machine too.
I know, you just kill someone and strip their face off.
Yeah, I'd make so many faces.
I'm a little concerned that you would make so many faces. Cult classics get a new life and death when a group of film students threw a one-night film festival in an absolutely epic theater that for some insane reason is going to be torn down. Unfortunately for them, a whole different sort of cult is about to return and finish the movie they started.
Possessor.
It was directed by Mark Harrier and Alan Ormsby, which actually we discussed this briefly when we talked about Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. Because he directed and produced and I think wrote Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. And he was booted a couple weeks into production for Popcorn. In fact, the only thing he directed that he got the opportunity to direct in this film were all the little black and white movies that we see on the screen in the film festival.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Probably because he was a jerk.
Yeah, apparently. I couldn't find much about why they fired him because he also wrote the script. He co-wrote the script. I'm assuming they just didn't like the direction he was taking it, or maybe he was putting too much time into the wrong things, or they just got into a fight. Who knows?
Could be. I don't know. I'm just looking at a picture of him again, and he looks like a jerk.
Mm-hmm. All of the bits, though, that he did film, I really loved I just loved them as little tributes, movies within movies.
Yeah, I thought that was really neat. And I think that they mimicked the time period and genre they were meant to so well.
Yeah, perfectly. And it looks clean and crisp. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
What's weird is there's an extra who's credited in this film, and I couldn't find much about him other than a few other things he had small roles in. But his last name is Ormsby, too. It's Ethan Ormsby. He was like a two-headed man in the audience.
Oh, yeah, that he's featured a bunch, too. Like, that costume comes up a couple times in the movie.
But I couldn't find any relation to Alan Ormsby. And he was born in 1967, though, so he would have been young enough to be Alan's son, but Alan's son was someone else, had a different name. And this guy died a few years ago, so I guess the world may never know, but I've got to assume it's not a weird coincidence. He's got to be related to him somehow.
Maybe it's like Alan Ormsby's bastard child.
Or nephew or something.
Bastard nephew, even better.
Yeah.
Bastard friend.
Nephew?
Bastard in-law.
Bastard in-law. Just
Yeah.
bastard.
Yes, generally just a bastard.
This
Much
is my
like
bastard.
Alan Ormsby himself.
You don't even know the man and you just already
I'm
labeled
telling
him
you,
bastard.
he looks like a dick.
Well, how long do you think this movie took to film?
6 weeks.
Well, you were close. It was 2 months.
Oh, I was only 2 months off. Look at me go.
Well, you were 2 weeks off, but
That's what I meant to say.
I love the effort that this like small group of film students put into their one night festival. And that they even made merch because like even in the opening, the film, there are these people wearing sunglasses for the Mosquito movie. And this was a time before you would have had easy internet access or any internet access in general. Definitely not what we know the internet as today.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So all I can figure is maybe they were really good at building things or they happened to, with the film reels, that merchandise was available. I just wonder, how did they get those damn glasses?
I just assumed it came along with like, I have no idea.
Mm.
I just assumed that old guy brought everything. Like he's like, oh, you want to do this old theater thing? Here's all this stuff. He probably had a steamer trunk full of everything.
Well, Popcorn didn't have a great wide release. It made about $2 million and it's very limited theatrical run. And then on the home video market, it made around $2 million again. It didn't make much more than that, unfortunately, but I think it deserved a little attention, you know? It's a fun movie.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm a little surprised it actually did so poorly. I remember there being an advertising push for this movie. Like I remember seeing it advertised when I was a kid.
Well, and the poster itself is like just unforgettable of the skeleton holding the mask of the woman's face. It's perfect.
Yeah. Like I saw it all over the place, but I never saw it until last week. So maybe it wasn't an effective advertising ploy.
I think for its sense of humor and for what this movie does, it's hard for me to believe that Wes Craven hadn't watched it. You know, because it was just less than a decade before the release of Scream, right? And it's spoofing horror in a very subtle way because it's not directly. Oh,
way less than a decade. It was like 4 years before Scream, 5 years before Scream.
Yeah. So I just find it hard to believe that maybe it wasn't a little bit of an inspiration, even though it was a different type of horror, you know?
Could be.
And I also really, really need the clock that they put in the movie theater.
I was thinking the same thing. I looked it up. I didn't think that there was any way that wasn't like made. I thought for sure it like existed, but I couldn't find it anywhere.
It's so badass. It's shaped like a coffin. It's this big bulky thing. It's got a skull that screams, and it's got little like skeleton hands that push at a heart in the middle, and it pumps the heart down and blood drips from it. This is a clock.
That thing was cool as hell. Some effects guy had a blast making that.
Man. I can't imagine people didn't fight over the opportunity to take it home. Mm-hmm. They called it the shot clock, by the way.
I hope it still exists somewhere.
Oh. Maybe in my dreams.
Maybe.
I also even love that the very opening of this movie is a reference. It's like Giallo style. And in fact, it kind of reminds me of one Giallo film I've seen, which for the life of me, I can't remember the name of, but it had the word colors in it, about a woman dreaming of a cult trying to sacrifice her. So that was even more clever than I expected a movie like this to be, that they would do a Giallo reference.
It was probably called something like The 18 Colors of Miss Mary von Snively or something like that. Like,
well, now you're getting into whodunit style. Maybe like the 18 Colors of a Skinned Lizard.
Yeah, that's better.
There's a weird tone change a lot in this movie too. Like when they're setting up the theater, the weird ska reggae montage. And looking at that and then looking at the slasher movie it turns into later, it's hard to believe it's the same film.
Yeah, it's jarring. It's like it wanted to be, it seemed like it wanted to be, what's his name? Tom Villard's other movies, because Tom Villard was in a lot of those boob comedies in the 80s, the guy who played Toby. So it started out as one of his, like, earlier movies and then moved on to, well, a slasher movie, I guess.
I want to say this director did, like, Porky's or something.
I will check. He is known for Porky's, Porky's 2, and Porky's Revenge. That is a hell of a...
So maybe that was like the main part of the movie that he directed.
I mean, it's got the feel. Like, I get it.
Yeah, it's just so weird. It's not bad. And hey, I love the live reggae band they have in the intermission at one point. That's pretty awesome. But it's still...
Wait, I don't think he directed Porky's. His only directing credits are Extreme Weekend, I Like Mike, and Popcorn. He is a character he's Billy in Porky's.
Oh, okay.
It's Billy. Oh, Billy was like one of the main dudes.
So maybe he was just modeling it off of his own inspirational experience.
Yeah, he was just like using what he knew.
Mm-hmm. There are 3 films that they have airing at the theater. The first one is Mosquito. And the gimmick they do, William Castle style, is they have a giant mosquito flying across the theater, which is like the skeleton that would fly across the theater when people watched House on Haunted Hill. The next one is The Attack of the Amazing Electrified Man, which uses buzzers in the seats, like the Tingler. And then finally there's The Stench with Odorama. And I think that one's a reference to a John Waters thing.
Smell-O-Vision.
Yeah, I thought so. I was like, did John Waters do that first, or did he just like that concept?
But I don't know.
First.
I think he did it first. I don't know if that was in the theaters, though, or if it was released with the VHS. I can't remember. I know it was released with the VHS. I'm just not sure if you got it. You must have got it in the theaters, because that was the 80s. Like, that wasn't... People weren't buying VHS as much back then.
And Nickelodeon did a gag with a movie later, I think, too, or a television thing where they gave out scratch and sniff cards with bad smells on them like that.
Mm-hmm. So. It sounds like it.
Because it must have been a really well-known little gimmick.
Yeah.
At any rate, I really liked those little nods there. And again, that would be a pretty sweet film festival to go to.
Yeah, oh God, that would be so much fun. It would be so, like, I do a horror fest up here every now and again. In fact, I should probably start doing it again for the show. It was fun, but like, yeah, this just makes, that would be my Mecca film festival, one that was like that. But like, you'd get that shut down so quick these days. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't be that out of hand, you know?
Oh, no, not at all. Even if people signed waivers, which they did have everyone sign waivers. They did the whole lunatic booth at the theater too. I forgot about that. Yep. I do think that Dee Wallace was a bit wasted. Like, in her role. I don't think she was drunk. I meant like they...
No, I get you. I get it. Yeah. Yeah. She was like, I mean, for who she is, she was in it in the beginning and then at the end, and I don't even remember what happened to her. That's how, like, lackluster that part was.
Yeah, and it's like she wasn't even directed well, because I know she can get better performances than what I saw in the movie.
I mean, she was in Critters, finest of all the movies.
Well, she was also in, Howling. She did a great job in The Howling.
She's also in the new Critters, I think. I haven't seen it yet. Or maybe it was
You sure she was in Critters?
Think so. Let me look it up.
I don't remember her in Critters.
Dee Wallace. She was the mom. I was right. I win.
Oh, okay then. Well.
Yes! And I believe she's also in the, like...
Gremlins.
That Shudder put out. Yes.
Gremlins.
Gremlins, Maddie.
Not Critters.
Bring up Gremlins.
She wasn't in Critters. She was in Gremlins.
She's definitely... I'm looking at her in Critters right now. Her character's name was Helen Brown. She was credited as Dee Wallace Stone. And it was Critters, 1986. Marty.
I don't remember that.
I'm going to go further down this hole because you're being a dick. She was also in...
No, you're right.
She was in Critters Attack, which was a TV movie in the Critters universe starring Dee Wallace, although her name was Dee in this one, so she's not playing the same role as the mom in Critters.
And she was in Cujo.
Oh, God, she's great in Cujo.
Yeah. Who played the mom in Gremlins?
Yeah, it wasn't her.
Yeah, she had a Dee Wallace vibe.
Are you looking that up? Because I don't want to.
I'm looking it up because it's driving me crazy. Belinda Belaski.
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, she's in Howling. She plays the evil chick.
I feel like you just want to talk about Howling.
Howling is a really good movie. You know what? It doesn't matter who played the mom in Gremlins. And I'm not going to type that right now because it's driving me crazy. I'm not going to type that at all.
You're not going to type who's playing the mom in Gremlins. What are you talking about? Are you trying to non-segue?
Frances Lee McCain.
Well, then who was Belinda Belaski?
Belinda Belaski, all I know is she was in Gremlins. I don't remember who she played.
She looks really familiar.
She's in Howling.
Would you stop saying Howling? Why do I recognize her? Don't say it. Oh, Falcon Crest, obviously.
You know what else she was in?
Shut up. No, she looks like the mom in the Goonies. Is she in the Goonies, or am I just getting the Goonies and Gremlins confused now?
They're all the same movie. Gremlins, Goonies, Critters, it's all one film. Actually, that'd be a pretty awesome movie.
She had a cameo in Gremlins 2, The New Batch, as a movie theater mom.
I'm just picturing the Gremlins now. This is our time.
I'm taking them back. I'm taking them all back.
So Maggie, the main character in Popcorn, was originally slated to be played by Amy O'Neill.
Good work.
I'm wrangling it. I'm wrangling it. But they ended up recasting her as Jill Sholin instead, who is the girl who was also in Curse 2. She was also in the Robert Englund Phantom of the Opera. She was in Chiller, The Stepfather, and Cutting Class. Most interesting thing I found about her is that she was with Keanu Reeves in Babes in Toyland in 1986. And she dated him for a short period, and then she dated other famous guys, including Brad Pitt. But eventually married a film composer, Anthony Marinelli, who, scored Nice Girls Don't Explode, which is a good movie, but the music's not that great.
I can't believe I've never seen a movie called Nice Girls Don't Explode.
Oh, it's a fun film. Yeah.
No, I'm being serious. I've never seen it, and I feel like I should have.
It's a movie about a mother and daughter who are very close. The mother doesn't want her daughter dating, so she convinces her daughter that if she gets intimate with a man, he will explode, and that she starts fires just by getting aroused. And she follows her daughter secretly all the time and plants little bombs everywhere. It's great.
Huh.
And she's adorable with a little pillbox hat, very Jackie, she makes cookies all the time.
I really want to see that now.
Oh, it's such a fun movie. I've watched it 100 times. But the whole cast of this film, Popcorn, which is the movie we're talking about, is a solid B-movie crew for the time. I mean, Kelly Jo Minter, who was the African-American actress, really should have gotten more screen time in general. She had a very small role in The Video Shop and Lost Boys. And she had a media role in Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Child, which was one of the weaker entries in the series, but her performance still stood out. But she's just
Dream
got
Child was pretty rough.
She's got
child.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But she's got a great voice and a really wonderful attitude, like in the characters she plays. 'Cause she beat the crap out of that guy and threw him out of the movie theater in this movie. And even for like, she maybe had 10 lines of dialogue in the whole film. That still stood out to me. I thought she was more memorable than all the other people in the group who got killed. She wasn't killed though.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I just felt like I should talk about her for a second. But now let's get to some depressing stuff. Tom Villard, who played Toby.
Oh.
Yeah, he passed away 3 years after this movie was released. He was one of the very few actors at the time who was open about his homosexuality. And in fact, he came out on Entertainment Tonight that he was gay and that he had been diagnosed with HIV.
Wow, I didn't know he can't. That's pretty ballsy for that time.
Yeah, and this was a pretty big moment to draw attention to the disease.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, unfortunately, he ceased to get any real acting roles when people learned about his HIV, even before that major moment on Entertainment Tonight. In fact, he passed away that same year in November. His partner founded a charity in his name shortly after his passing to help provide goods and services for others struggling with the disease who couldn't afford them. The group is now defunct, but it did inspire others to follow in its wake, so.
Good. At least some good came out of it.
Yeah, so pretty much in the vein of Freddie Mercury, he drew attention to the illness, even though he unfortunately did not survive it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was only like, in his early 40s, I think.
Oh, yeah, he couldn't have been.
Yeah.
Because he was still playing like 20-year-olds.
But the makeup in Popcorn is fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. Way to bring it back to happiness. You're doing great on these tonight.
And you gotta love the cheesy, like, white guy rap at the very end when the credits rolls. You know, scary, scary movies on the silver screen.
Mm-hmm. I swear that all, like, well, this is 91, so this is way after, like, rap had existed for a while. But there are so many, like, novelty rap songs about Halloween and horror movies. It's so strange. Mm-hmm. Like, not even, like good, like, scary horror rap, but, like, bad, like, novelty rap about, like horror stuff. Like,
write a rap, John.
Wolfman dancing down the street. Like, you know, it's just bad.
It's like, write a rap, John. We need one. Well, I'm a classical music composer. We need a rap written by tomorrow. Well, God damn it. And they did it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you know what's better than rap in a bad rap?
What? A good book.
Yes.
Oh, look, I did it.
They say that if you want to escape reality, all you really have to do is pick up a good book.
Don't watch this movie.
Take it from the top, okay?
This will remind you of your reality and how terrible it truly is, because you won't be able to focus on the film because it's boring.
The next minute he was staring
I gotta admit, if this happened, I wouldn't want to read books anymore.
But when the escape becomes
I'd
an
have to
obsession,
read books, even if it got people killed. Like, books turn my mind off.
it is the return to reality.
I don't care if people die as long as I don't have to be full of anxiety.
You know, it's a good thing most listeners probably don't.
Why would anybody do such a thing?
Because he thinks that it will please me.
What is happening to you?
Damn it, Richard, listen to me. I'm telling you, there's going to be a
I do too.
tonight.
You can't stake out every building in the city based on some cryptic passage from a 30-year-old novel.
Going down.
Okay, I know you don't like the movie, but his makeup's
His will.
Yes. The hair, I really like. I like it when he gets the hair.
Read any good books lately?
Oh, I see what they did there. Read any good, because that's a good tagline, actually.
Yeah. So the actor you're talking about is Clayton Rohner, and yes, I like him too, although he has done a lot of bad stuff. I'm trying to... Oh, he was Chaz in April Fool's Day. I liked him in that.
He was in Good vs. Evil, wasn't he?
Yeah, G vs. E. That's right. That's where I totally remember him from, G vs. E.
He was in something, One of the Boys or something, one of the guys.
I don't remember that.
It was that high school movie in the 80s where the chick, like, couldn't get her newspaper published.
Oh, right. So she went back and pretended she was,
And he was obsessed with James Brown.
I get him confused with another actor from that time period. It's the bad guy from hackers. I gotta figure this out. Oops, I spelled it sackers. That's not right. I get him confused with
What's the one guy who used to be in like the earlier bad seasons of SNL? And he was in
Fisher Stevens is who I get.
Okay, Dead Heat. What's that actor's name? It's two of them
Joe
were in SNL. No, the other one.
Reese
Treat
something.
Williams.
Treat Williams, yeah.
Treat Williams and Clayton Rohner in Dead Heat could easily be swapped out because it seemed like he was playing a very Clayton Rohner kind of character in that movie.
Yeah, I think that could have, although like Rohner does more of like this sort of like low-key smoothness, or at least he attempts it. I just think he comes off as geeky, which is part of his charm.
I like him.
I think it could work. I think it would be entertaining for different reasons. But I mean, you don't like. There's no reason to ever mess with a masterpiece like Dead Heat, Maddie. I thought you were gonna say a masterpiece like Clayton Rohner, but yeah. No, him too.
No, Dead Heat was a perfect movie.
You're right. It's great. I was waiting to like. I'm all tripped up on my words because I thought I was going to have to defend it.
I love Dead Heat.
Shit. I love Dead Heat too. Let's continue. All right. I'm Madman.
Let's go, would you?
I'm Madman is a movie about books that isn't willing to spend any time coming up with a cohesive plot in anything but the little snippets of the books we read. And even then, it's such a boilerplate stamped out plot that it's not really that interesting.
But the bookshop she works at is pretty badass.
Yeah, the bookshop was cool. Although, like, even that it all just feeds into this terribly contrived story that we're supposed to buy into, but we can't even buy into it because none of it makes any sense. So, all right, let's try to break this down. So you've got, what's her name? I already forgot her name. Virginia, played by Jenny Wright, who was also in Near Dark and who was wonderful and only acted for like 10 minutes and then disappeared.
She was just she was ethereally beautiful.
Yeah. And yeah, she's okay in this. She's great in Near Dark. She's okay in this. But yeah, she just disappeared.
She plays the type of character that the role calls for.
Yeah. So she's reading this book called, really long title that I don't remember. Do you remember?
Much of Madness, more of
Much Madness,
murder?
More Crazy.
Much of Madness, more of Murder, something like that.
Wacko Weirdness, Bad Guys Doing Stuff. Yeah, so it's got a long title, and she's reading it, and it does that whole thing where, like, it opens on what's going on in the book, but it's not actually happening because she's reading it. But it is sort of happening, but I'll get to that later. And I got to remember to talk about my cameo at some point, because you definitely missed this cameo, and I need to point it out to you. Mm-hmm. All right. So she's reading this book. Nothing actually happens because it happens in this book. It's about this dude who wears faces, and he's a doctor. And he builds a monster.
No, she's reading 3 different books.
2.
No, it's 2 different books.
Yeah, there's Much Murder, Bad Anger, and I'm Madman.
Okay, well, the one where he's building the monster is not the one where he wears faces.
I feel like he wears faces in that one, too. Or does the monster eat his face off in that one? That's why he wears...
The monster eats his face.
All right.
Well, no, the monster eats him. It eats him. Kills him.
At the end of Much Madness, Anger, Murder?
Yeah, Much of Madness, more of Murder, yes.
I'm just going to keep saying it wrong. So I'm not even convinced you're saying it right. Oh, I wrote notes, but I haven't even looked at them yet. Let's just keep going on this. All right. Okay. My point is, I don't have a point yet because we're just at the beginning. So yeah, she's reading this book. Nothing's happening, but she really liked it. So she wants to move on to the second book. And they just got this estate sale in that she found the first book. So she's looking for the second book and she can't find it. But ooh, spooky. Later on, it shows up at her doorstep and she gets to read it.
But she thinks it's from her friend.
Yeah, she thinks it's from her friend, but really it's, I guess, the dude.
The writer, yes.
Yeah, see, this is where it gets weird. So the writer is the dude in the books. So he's writing about himself,
I think he channeled into something supernaturally, and it twisted him and made him supernatural at the same time. That's what I think happened.
Okay, so do you think he was supernatural when he wrote his first book, or the magic didn't happen until he wrote I, Madman?
I think the first book began to do something to him, but when he went further into writing the second book, it finished the job.
I don't know, because he was really, really specifically the character in his books. You know what I mean? Like, even to the point where, like, he knew the monster at the end.
What, you don't think he was supernatural then?
No, I mean, he has to. There was a big demon monster that came out of a book because a lady read about it. He has to be supernatural. Yeah. But I'm just not sure if it, like, happened gradually, if it was already a thing, or, like, did somebody write the book and the book possessed him, or did he come out of the book?
Well, you see, this is why you don't let method actors write novels.
Valid point. So anyway, you didn't catch the you've seen the movie The Gate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of the demons from The Gate. That's the cameo as far as I'm concerned. It's just a bigger one.
You're right.
I know.
Oh, my God.
If there was a demon size in between the tiny ones and the big one they had to kill with a rocket, it would be that one.
I was hoping for a better cameo thing. Like, oh, Stephen King showed up and said this movie sucks, but no, he didn't.
No, it's how can you get a better cameo than the demon from The Gate? Like, I was just waiting for it to grant wishes like in The Gate 2.
We can never talk about The Gate 2.
Why?
Terrible, terrible movie.
It's really bad, but it's super bad in a funny way. All their wishes turn to literal shit. It's great.
Yeah, we already watched another movie like that, and I can't even say the name.
What was it?
Slime Bowl Sorority Girls.
Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bowl-O-Rama. That movie's great. Leave it. Yeah, Clayton Rohner plays this cop named Richard that's dating Virginia, played by Jenny Wright. He's just a dick in this. Like, did I write down anything specific?
Okay. Well, to be fair, he does what he can. He's always working. And right after they have sex, she likes to bring up stuff about murdering people.
Yeah, but like he's
around that all day. He doesn't need his girlfriend bringing up like these novels about killers.
Yeah, he can at least be supportive instead of just an utter jerk about it. Like, she's obviously, even if this isn't happening, she's going through some shit.
Well, and no, he does apologize and turn it into a little bit of a joke.
Yeah, but that's not helpful. That's obviously not what she needs. Like, she's seeing everybody she knows get murdered by a bookman, or maybe a writer, or maybe both, or maybe a monster.
I wouldn't believe her.
I would give her the benefit of the doubt if I loved her. And I don't think he loved her. Because he had to see it.
Listen, it's not easy to win the heart of Clayton Rohner, Corey. You try it sometime.
How do you know I haven't?
Are you telling me you have it in a locket right now around your neck?
It's actually tattooed where a locket would hang, if you must know. I don't know. What else can I say about this movie? The bookstore's cool. Nobody really matters. The plot's terrible.
It is just as bad as like a cheesy dime store pulp novel like the ones she was reading.
I feel like it's worse, though. Like, I think it's worse than those. Like, I would rather read Varney the Vampire than watch I, Madman again.
Well, hold on. Varney the Vampire is actually a pretty classic melodrama, like gothic melodrama. So lay off Varney.
Wait, isn't that the one that Lord Byron's guy wrote? That one?
Polidori wrote Vampire, which is actually an excellent
it is not
book or novella.
Novelette. See, you've lost the argument because you called it a novelette.
Well, it is a tiny little novel, so.
Yeah, I meant the vampire. I didn't mean Varney the Vampire.
Okay. There's not really a whole lot going for this movie. It's a pretty simple concept.
Yeah, no, not only that, but there isn't anything on the internet about it either that's interesting. Like, it's the world's collectively decided to agree that this didn't happen. And I'm
foreign director.
Yeah, who was the director?
I don't even remember his name.
His name was... Why is everything scrolling? Oh, because I pressed the wrong button. Tibor Takacs.
I was going to say, it says Smith.
Oh, he looks cool. He's got like a trilby hat on, and he's old, and he's got some sunglasses. This dude definitely bowls for fun. Oh, God. Maddie, you're not going to believe this. Guess what he directed?
What did he direct?
2 years before I'm Madman, he directed The Gate.
Oh my God. That would be why. You've solved the mystery.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh,
I should have looked that up earlier. I'm glad I didn't because it's such a good surprise to see that. Oh, that's hilarious. So yeah, total cameo.
well, okay. I recommend watching this if you like the actors and you like cool makeup, because I still think the wig and the whole hair thing looked cool.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Whoa, he actually did direct some good stuff. Sorry, we're gonna have to. Oh crap!
Well, the film here is short enough to make me wonder if it got butchered in the cutting room. You know?
Maybe. I don't know what could have really helped it. I feel like anything added would have just confused the situation.
Well, probably the elements that kept the novels more cohesive and that running concept make more sense.
Maybe. So he also directed Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Like everything's just coming full circle for us.
Oh my God! What?
He did the Sabrina TV movie, Sabrina Goes to Rome.
Oh my God!
He also did this movie called Sanctuary. Have you ever seen it?
Mm-mm.
It's about a dude who was I think he was already a priest, but he witnessed people get murdered or somebody he loved got murdered. And he went on this crazy revenge spree and started it's this priest revenge movie.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't want to give the ending away, but it's got an interesting little ending bit. And I really enjoyed that. So he's got some good stuff under his belt. He did some episodes of The Outer Limits.
Okay.
The remake, the 95 version.
Oh, I actually like the 90s version, so.
I like what I saw. I don't think I've seen it all. He did a movie called Mansquito.
Mansquito, I remember.
Pretty sure, that's a totally different movie if you say it with a lisp. If you say Mansquito, it's one thing, but then if you say Mansquito, it's another thing.
And with that being said, I think we pretty much explored every element of I, Madman that we could possibly come up with. No,
there's more. He it looks like he did all these I'm so focused on this director all of a sudden. He did a bunch of those what sound like sci-fi movies like Mega Snake, Ice Spiders, Kraken, Tentacle of the Deep.
Wait, is it just the tentacle or is it the whole Kraken?
Tentacles of the Deep. So it's at least a couple of the Kraken.
There's 7 other movies?
Spiders 3D. It looks like in his later career, he's just doing Christmas movies now. He's got
yeah, there's good money there.
So I'm going to read this in order. So in 2017, you've got Destruction of Los Angeles. Then you've got Rocky Mountain Christmas. Then you've got It's Christmas Eve. Or no, It's Christmas, Eve. Then you've got Memories of Christmas. And then A Christmas Miracle. And then finally, The Secret Ingredient and Roadkill. I don't know if those are Christmas.
I thought you were going to say The Secret Ingredient is Christmas.
That would be great. Or Christmas Roadkill. I would watch that.
Oh, that sounds like a short film that has to happen.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll write that one next.
Yeah, maybe the reindeer get hit and they come back as these ravening zombie creatures for revenge.
I like it.
All right.
This guy's Hungarian too.
Well, if you want to check out our blog, you can find us at hallow-holic.blogspot.com or hallow-holic.wordpress.com.
If you want to go to that terrible cesspool, horrible place that's the Twitterverse these days, you can find us there by searching for Hallow-Holics or by adding me at Nowhere23.
You can email us at hallowholics@outlook.com to tell us why somehow we're wrong about anything. I've got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the man today isn't even he just keeps whapping me with an old 50s detective novel until I tell you guys to go to podpedia.org and search our portal, HHA.
So wait, he knows the way out of this portal because he came in here the other day and got out of it.
I don't even think he uses the portal. I think he can just do this.
Oh my God. Well, at least he's not hitting you with a spoon.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. I doubt he's going to help us, but I'll see if I can talk to him. Ow. You just hit me again. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, before we try to figure out a way out of this empty movie theater, but Corey, put the book down.
I'm trying to get us out of here.
By reading a book?
No, by writing our ends.
Oh my gosh, what? We've got to tell people about what movies we're going to try to watch next week.
All right, I'll write that down. As he realized the skit was still going on, he started writing in his book that the skit was now over and they must talk about what they will be watching next week. The end. All right.
Now, you would say would be watching, not...
I will say whatever I want. I'm
you
the
just change your
author of
tense
my destiny, Madeline.
What do you want to watch next week?
Oh, I don't know. Something fun. I want to watch something. I want to watch 2 movies that I will definitely like.
Okay.
Don't want to hate anything next week. Or at least I don't want to hate anything more than I normally hate everything.
Okay. Yeah, something fun and adventure-y.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, what about the original Poseidon Adventure? We do disaster.
Oh,
movies.
I could do the original Poseidon Adventure, yeah.
All right. And that one's easy to find.
Is Krull a disaster movie?
Krull?
Krull is about a world threatened with destruction. We don't have to watch Krull if you don't want to.
Thank you. I mean, you could go with boats or you can go with natural disasters.
Can't think of any other natural that word that I want to watch. I could watch Armageddon again. I could always watch Armageddon.
Let's see. What are the greatest disaster movies of all time? The Poseidon Adventure.
Armageddon.
These recommendations are mostly shit, but Armageddon is on that list. You want to do Armageddon and Poseidon Adventure? There's also The Perfect Storm. That's a good one.
Perfect Storm.
That's the Hindenburg. The Perfect Storm with Dennis Quaid.
I don't remember that one.
It's a good movie. There's Beyond the Poseidon Adventure. What?
Yeah, it's about Telly Savalas is in it, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so Armageddon and Poseidon Adventure?
Yeah, the original Poseidon Adventure or
yes, the original, not the remake.
Yeah, that works.
I hate the remake.
I like Kurt Russell, but yeah, the remake's pretty bad.
Oh yeah, the remake's pretty terrible. Oh, I love Kurt Russell. But he's been in some stinkers.
Yes, he has.